thought, okay, well, this is cool. Yeah, if they want to meet me, they can line up properly and all that stuff. So now I said, okay, I'll meet them. I go, but you know what? They have to shake my hand. And I'm going down the line, and I'm shaking their hand. I'm going like this. Yeah, that's right. Look at me. I'm an American woman. You can shake my hand, motherfucker. That's right. Yeah, that's how we roll. Yeah, Hi. Whore face. Hi. So I'm making my big statement, right, for my country. So then the soldier's there with me, and I look at this one guy's hand, and it's all stained. So I turn to the soldier, and I go, that last guy, it almost looked like he had shit on his hands. And then he said, because it was. They wipe with their right hand. I shook shit hands for my country. Is anyone in the mood to hear about Brooke Shields' wedding? All right. I love this story. She hates it. You'll love it too. Here's why. First of all, I love Brooke Shields. I really, I love her, and we're so different. She's so like girly and Crabtree and Evelyn, and you know what I mean? And I'm just so, pussy jokes. Okay, so anyway, I get invited to her wedding, and she actually married this guy, Chris, who, oddly enough, I knew him before I knew her and stuff. So it was really great. He's a great guy, and they're a great couple and all this stuff. So we get invited to the wedding, and it is like the full-on in-style wedding. It's at this giant mansion in Palm Beach, Florida, right? And it's owned by this woman, Terry, and I can't remember her last name, so I just called her Terry Big House, because it's this huge mansion right on the water. You go in the house and they have the leather-bound architectural digest that they're in, right? One of those. And, and she's a riot too, the woman who owns the house. She's old and she's all leathery. Like she's one of those Florida chicks whose, face looks like an old Coach bag. And she's really, really thin and emaciated, and she's always got the tumbler and the ciggy right here, and she's got the whiskey voice like that. And she's really thin, and she always wears like a wrapped dress where her boobs kind of hanging out a little bit. She's like trying to bang the pool boy. Javier, slower. So, I don't know. I'm only imagining. So anyway, so she's one of those. And then she's got the little dog, right? The rich people always have to have the little Shih Tzu or whatever. And the dog's name is Bongo. So she was constantly yelling at Bongo. She's like, welcome to my home, Bongo, bad boy. Bongo sent. So she was like a character, right? And so she's the one, she loaned the house and stuff. So, Martha Stewart did the flowers, rest her soul. And so, I love Martha now. I never was into her, and now I think she's an American hero. I don't know what it is. Although, what cracks me up? Did you guys ever, is she Target or Kmart? Kmart, okay. Did you guys ever see that commercial Martha Stewart does for Kmart for the white sale? And she's got the super Connecticut accent where you can't really understand her sometimes. And I swear there's one where she cannot say the word white. She keeps saying, come to Kmart for the wheat sale. And the word sounds more like wheat as the commercial goes on. And I imagine that the director is trying to say, you're not really saying the word white, it's a white sale. So by the end of the commercial, she's like, yeah, so come in for the wheat sale. It's just a wheat sale, and that's all there is to it. So I love her. So anyway, she did the flowers, and Brooke had this beautiful Vera Wang gown, and it was just gorgeous, and she looked gorgeous and all that stuff. So here's the deal. Brooke's mom was on some kind of Elkie probation. Now, you know the deal with Brooke's mom, Terry, right? She's like a notorious alcoholic. And I love Brooke's mom. That's the problem. I get along with her great because I love Alkies. Because, I'm 100% Irish. I'm used to it. So she, like many Alkies, the mom is very smart. She's very charismatic. She's very quick. She has a really vicious wit, which of course I love. So I get along great with the mom. So I think the deal, I'm not sure, but I think the mom had to have 30 days before she was allowed to come to the wedding. And believe me, she fucking white-knuckled it. So, it was great. So anyway, so the mom is there, and then the pre-wedding reception is happening, and it's on this bluff overlooking the water, and it's beautiful and all that stuff. And then the wedding goes off without a hitch. It's all wonderful, and now it's time for the reception. Okay, so right out the gate, I knew the mom was in trouble, because you know how when somebody passes the tray of champagne, it's always the alky that's going like this. None for me. I'm not having any. So you know, she's like, so. And I remember seeing Brooke on this old, like a rerun of a Barbara Walters interview from the 70s or 80s, I can't remember which, but I had a whole fight with Barbara Walters. I gotta tell you about it, you're gonna shit. Okay, so anyway, yeah, Grandma and I threw down. So anyway, okay, so I remember seeing, Lifetime was rerunning these Barbara Walters interviews, and I remember seeing one with Brooke where she was probably about 15, and she's there, and she's so sweet, and she's so, beautiful, and she's there with the mom talking to Barbara about how, the mom stopped drinking, and I said to my mom one day, if you keep drinking, I just can't live with you anymore. And Brooke's mom is like, mm-hmm, and the whole time she looks like she wishes she had a little flask, like. So they've been very public about this struggle and all that stuff. So, but, like I said, the mom is also like a riot. I totally like her. So anyway, now it's time for the reception, and it's time for the toasts, all right? So the toasts were great. They had, like, Gary Shandling gave a toast, and he was really funny, and Kevin Nealon was hilarious, and I got to give a toast. All right, but the deal was, of course, the mom was absolutely not to give a toast, right? Because she's a fucking live wire. So then, Brooke and Chris are at the back table and everything's going beautifully, which is a little boring. So then, the mom kicks it into high gear. All right. So all of a sudden, Terry Bighouse, stumbles up to the microphone for a toast. And she's got the tumbler and the ciggy and bongo somewhere following her. And she's got Brooke's mom, Terry. And so everybody's kind of looking around. I mean, everybody knows the deal, right? So everyone's like, this will probably be quick. And I turn my chair around and I'm like, I hope this takes forever. So that's some good shit. All right, so anyway, then Terry Bighouse is up there and she's going, the two Terrys want to make a toast. You kids are so beautiful. So I don't even know what the fuck they were saying. So anyway, it looks like Terry Bighouse is the only one who's gonna make a toast. So we're like, shoot. Then Terry Shields starts talking, right? And everyone's kind of looking around, and then Brooke's mom says, this is the first thing she says in the toast. I wasn't even invited to this wedding. Who's died and gone to heaven? Me. Going to hell in a handbasket. I get it. All right, so anyway, everyone's like, oh shit, And then she looks at Brooke's dad with his newer wife, and she's like, so now you're with my ex-husband. Well, congratulations, you can have him. It was fucking on. Okay, so then Terry Bighouse, as drunk as she is, allegedly, then she's got the thing and she's going, Terry, now you stop it. Now you be nice. We talked about this. Bongo, bad boy. Bongo, sit. Bongo. So then Brooke's mom totally turns it around, and then she gets really maudlin, and she's like, but I'm just so happy to have my beautiful daughter be happy today because of, which in a way is almost worse, right? So then Brooke stands up and she goes, okay, Mom, thanks. Like that, like trying to get her off, right? And then the mom's like, what'd she say? So it makes it worse. So Brooke's going, thanks, Mom, that was good. So then the mom kind of rambles on for a while, and then she sits down. And now we've all resigned ourselves to the fact the mom's half in the bag, and I'm just basically following her at this point. And so, all right, so now, then Brooke hires this singing team, and like I said, she's very Crabtree and Evelyn, and they're called, I don't know if you've heard of them, they're called Tuck and Patty. And yes, and they're a folk duo, and they just cracked me up because Patty is a very large African-American woman, and Tuck is a very skinny white guy who kind of looks like Tiny Tim. So they're singing all kinds of songs, and they're singing like these folk songs, one of which was called The Earth is Our Mother, We Shall Not Bury Her. You know what I'm saying? All right. So anyway, when I go to a wedding, I live for the wedding cake. It's all I care about. So Brooke at one point calls me, she's like, come on, we're gonna get started. So I'm like, oh, sweet. So I go and sit in the very front row as close to the wedding cake as possible, because I literally want the second piece. And so I love it. So anyway, I sit down and I'm right in the front row with Brooke, and it turns out she meant, come sit here because Tuck and Patty are starting their full concert. So I'm like, oh shit. Looking at the cake like a dog. And so anyway, Tuck and Patty start singing "The Earth Is Our Mother," and then Patty decides to kick it into high gear and starts scatting in the middle of it. So the song's like this. The earth is our mother. We cannot bury her. The earth is our mother. Like that. All right, I'm not gonna lie. I start laughing my ass off. I can't help it. So I start getting that kind of laugh where you're afraid to even breathe. Like you're just trying to suppress it so hard. And I swear to God, I'm thinking, God in heaven, please do not let Brooke turn to her right. Please do not. I know I was barely invited as it is. Do not let her. So I look over at Brooke, and I swear to God, she's so moved by the song, she has a tear coming down her eye. In the middle of my hysterical, inappropriate laughing fit. So of course, this is what I see. Joke. I'm not. The earth is our mother. I'm totally loving it. So I knew I was on the shit list. So anyway, then Tuck and Patty finish, and now it's time to start like the disco portion, right? So, all right, get ready. So Brooke's mom walks toward me, and she's for sure in the bag at this point. And she's doing like, she's walking toward, but she's kind of doing this like when somebody wants to dance with you, and they're like, hey, who wants to dance? And so I remember thinking, I could be injured. So anyway, she comes up, and I decided to do this thing where I acted like I didn't know she wanted to dance, but I was acting like she wanted to high-five me. Because she's going like this, and I'm like, yeah, sister. So I go to high-five her. She must have been a little perturbed by that. So I swear to God, she reaches under and grabs my peach and like squeezes it and walks away. I run over to Brooke. I go, your mother just molested me. I could sue you and own this house. So, allegedly. So Brooke's just like, I know. And then I swear to God, she said the ill-fated words. She goes, you have to put this in your act. And I was like, what? I would never. So, because it's a private time. All right, so anyway. Then, all of a sudden, I'm sitting there with Matt, and the mom comes and stands next to Matt, and some disco song comes on, and I swear to God, I'll never forget this. She turns, she goes, oh, I love this song. She turns to my husband, Matt, grabs the back of his hair, and like lays one on him. And I turned, it was the weirdest moment where I was like, hey, honey, Brooke Shields' mom is tongue kissing you? Like, it was... And she pulls away, and then she leaves, like it's nothing to her. And Matt looks at me like, he's soiled, and he needs counseling, and he's kind of shaky, and he's like, I didn't. I'm like, I know. He's going to a safe place. And so then there's this great moment where, when rich people have these events, I've noticed whenever I've been to like super fancy person's house, they love to cordon off most of the house, right? Because, the common people are to hang out like in the kitchen and one powder room. And I was dying for a tour of the house because I love houses. I love open houses. If I ever come to your open house, hide your journal because I'm going to read it. So, I love it. Okay, so anyway, I'm not leaving until I see a picture. All right, so anyway, I go and I see Brooke's mom, and she's like, how you doing, kid? And I said, oh, I'm doing great. I said, boy, I'd love to get a tour of this house because it's so beautiful, without thinking. And so anyway, so she kind of hooks my arm, and she walks by, and then the groom's mother, trying to help me out, says, can I help you ladies with anything? And then Brooke's mom, and this is why I love her, without missing a beat, says to the groom's mother, shut up, you fucking cunt. Slurred. It was, shut up, you fucking cunt. I mean, it was a fucking dream come true. All right, so I want to, all right, wait, what should I do this? Oh, good one. All right, so get this. You guys, I'm not kidding, you guys are such such a dream. I'm like, I just appreciate you so much. Okay, so anyway, here's the Barbara Walters deal. Okay, so I've been on The View a whole bunch of times, right? And those girls, I know them a little bit, but not very well, and they're all very, very nice. Now, this happened when Lisa Ling was still on the show, before she ruined her career and decided to do important work. All right, so anyway, I had been on The View a bunch of times, but never when Barbara Walters was there. And granted, she's an icon, and I admire her, and she's definitely a trailblazer. But one thing that bothers me is she doesn't seem to ask the question. You know, she gets the great interviews, and, she gets Angelina Jolie, who's super crazy. And, I have a lot of questions for Angelina Jolie. A lot. So anyway, that's the only thing is Barbara Walters is, she's very soft with the interviews, and that kind of bothers me. But anyway, she's great and all this stuff. So I noticed when I've done that show, it's very fun and loose, but I'd never been there on Barbara Day. So I go, and the minute I walk into the ABC building, I can tell everything's different. There's a lot of panicky gay PAs talking their earpieces. No, Barbara wants the brooch. No, the one that goes with the Chanel suit. I'm putting out fires. So everybody's very tense. I don't know what the fuck Barbara does to these poor people, but they are scared shitless of her. As are all the other women on the panel. So I go, and I don't even try to talk to her or anything. Although, let me just say this. I love doing The View, and I know that I won't do it anymore. But up until this, I loved it. And one thing was, you meet the weirdest people on that show. Like, one time I was walking down the hall at The View, and I saw Nancy Sinatra, right? These boots are made for walking. First of all, she's had more face work than me and Michael Douglas put together. Secondly, we'll get to him in a second. So anyway, she's got the crazy boots, right? And she looks at me in the hall, and I never think anybody's gonna know me, right? So she looks at me, and she sees me in the hall, and I didn't even want to bother her, and she stops me and she goes, "You're a funny dame," and keeps walking. I love shit like that. Okay, so anyway, I see Lisa Ling in the hallway, and when I was just engaged to Matt, she and I had lunch together with Matt and her then boyfriend. So I said to her, I go, "Hey, remember the guy we had lunch with that one time? Well, guess what? I'm getting married to him now." And she said, "Oh, that's great. He seems so nice and all this stuff." And I said, she goes, "Well, do you want to talk about it?" I said, "No." I go, "Don't ask me about it on the show, because we're going to do some kind of a weird charity tie-in where we have people donate to a charity instead of giving us presents. But I said, I don't know anything about it yet, so, don't ask me about it on the show." So she's like, "Okay." So anyway, now it's time for me to go on the show. And by the way, this is how D-listy my life is. This is what I was on The View to promote. Typical. I was co-hosting the Greenwich Village Halloween Parade for the Sci-Fi Channel. Oh yeah. Only the best. Yeah. Call Griffin. So, apparently the Animal Planet couldn't meet my quote. So anyway, that's what I'm there to plug, right? So I go on, and the first thing I notice is Barbara isn't even looking at me, right? So I'm talking to the girls, and they're all being very nice, and Barbara's just kind of down looking at her information card, you will so never be on that post-Oscar special, I'm not even gonna bother, right? But I was kind of fascinated by her, So anyway, the girls and I are chatting about the Halloween special and this and the other, and then out of the blue, I hear Barbara all of a sudden perk up and say, "So I understand you're engaged." And I was like, oh shit, I didn't really have anything prepared to talk about that and all that stuff. So I said, yes, and my fiance and I are going to have some sort of a charity tie-in where we will have people donate to a charity in lieu of giving us gifts. But I said, I haven't worked out anything yet, so I hope to come back in a year. I hope you ladies will have me back, and I hope to have a wonderful success story for you. So then she goes, "A charity wedding? Oh dear, that's what Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones are doing." Totally stealing my thunder, right? So I'm like, oh, for Christ's sake, I'm here talking about the fucking Halloween parade. Now I gotta go up against Michael Douglas, who has more money than God, and his child bride, and their fake wedding. So, I'm trying to raise money for this charity. I can never raise that much money. I'm not Michael Douglas. And by the way, let me just say this. I read in Liz Smith that when Michael Douglas married Catherine Zeta-Jones, what they did was they have their child, right? They already had the kid before they got married. And they had people make a check out to the baby. And that when the baby grows up, he'll decide what charitable donations to make with the money when he's 21. All right, that's bullshit, all right? That is bullshit. bullshit, because the charity that we ended up picking was AMFAR, right? The American Federation for AIDS Research. We had people make the checks directly to AMFAR. There was no like Kathy and Matt fund or any bullshit like that. They just made the checks right to AMFAR. Although, let me just say this. I made everybody mail the checks to me personally so I could see how much they were. I was vicious. I was literally calling my own friends going, you gotta be fucking kidding me with that 25 bucks. All right, you can come to the wedding, but you're not eating. 100? Thanks. So, I mean, I'm just trying to raise as much as possible, right? So anyway, then, and I didn't know that at the time, but I'm thinking, oh, for Christ's sake, you know, Barbara's gonna fucking throw down with me now about the charity wedding. So then, you know, and so I just turned to her and I said, well, I go, Barbara, our wedding is a little different because ours isn't shotgun. So, because the live audience reaction was exactly that. Exactly. And let me tell you something, that's a live show, and it was like palpable in the audience. I mean, there was tension, right? So anyway, Barbara Walters does this thing that I've noticed powerful people do when you call them on something and they can't believe it. So she's got her card, and she does what I call retracto head, which is I say, well, ours isn't shotgun, and she just goes like this. Fall off and roll down 59. So anyway, everybody can feel it, right? I look at the other girls on the panel and they're just like, oh. I'm making Barbara mad. Stop it. So I go, you know, ours isn't shotgun, and Barbara Walters goes like this, really snotty. She goes, well, theirs isn't either. Like that, with that cadence, like very like, you know, I know you are, but what am I? Or, you know, I thought she was gonna say, you're not the boss of me. So I was like, I couldn't believe it. I'm sitting there on The View, trying to get people to turn on the Sci-Fi channel for the Halloween parade, and Barbara's throwing down with me. I'm like, bring it, bitch! What is going on? Typical. So anyway, finally I said, well, Barbara, you're in bed with all those famous people I'll never meet. What do I care? And then she goes, well, you certainly won't. And then Lisa Lane cuts in and she goes, so if you live here in New York, then you can go see Kathy Griffin tonight at the Greenwich Village Parade. It's going to be so much fun. I'll be there. And I swear to God, out of frame, you hear Barbara Walters go, well, I won't be there. So now, it goes to commercial. It goes to the commercial break, so my segment is over, and I'm sitting on the couch for a second, and I thought, here's the thing, I'm a really paranoid person. Like, I think people are trying to kill me every day. So I'm sitting there, and I thought, you know what, Kathy? You probably really exaggerated this in your mind. Barbara Walters is a very powerful woman. She's, you know, it's not about you. So I decided to test the waters a little, because I'm always thinking. Yeah. So anyway, Barbara Walters is standing over there with Meredith Vieira. So I turn and kind of like in their direction, I said, thanks for having me, ladies. It was really fun. So Meredith says, thanks, Kathy. It was great to see you. And then Barbara Walters just doesn't look up from her card. She's like this. All right, so I leave. Even still, I'm thinking, you know what? I probably made that all up. I'm sure it was fine. 2 months later, I'm doing Hollywood Squares, right? Another square is Star Jones. So I don't know Star that well. I only know her from doing The View. So I go up to her at lunch, and I go, Star, I don't know if you remember me, but... And then Star Jones goes, girl! Which can't be good, right? So I said, what? And she goes, remember you? We still talk about that date. And I said, what? Why? And she goes, in fact, when Barbara's not there, we take turns being you in the dressing room.